Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I have audio come.
There. Ken Stout is broadcasting right now, thinking that he's filling in for me. But I am here. Good morning. I have two. Hang on.
DougBot said hi. How you doing?
Wow. I have three viewer questions to respond to. So that's why I've not really popped up with the stream today, but this is my usual time and I scheduled it half an hour in advance, almost half an hour. Let's see. I've got audio confirmation, so that's good. I don't know if anybody is here. There's John Downey. That's the first one that I've seen. Oh, Selden Ball's there. And hello to both of you. Yeah. Okay. And Ken Stout over here, I'm going to bring up his Baby Beast. He's yakking away there. He's got a static image of me. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know what he's doing. That's all right. I got my own agenda. I have questions from 3 different viewers that I saw this morning. I said, okay, let's just kick them out. Get this out of the way. First one from Bobby Warren by email. His email address, let's see, can I zoom this in enough to conceal that? Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, there's no subject. Oh, that's why. He didn't put any subject on this email. So that's why Gmail does this. Drum roll, please. This message was not sent to spam because of filter you created, implying that it was going to be sent to spam, except that I created the filter that if people send to DougBetts at LiveWindowsTraining.com, it gets past any form of Gmail blocking. Gmail was going to block this because there was no subject given. So that's a mistake when you're sending emails. Be sure to include a subject. And he says, "Hey, Doug, I have an issue with Facebook Messenger. It kicks me out every 5 to 10 minutes. Can you please fix it? Thank you." Well, I can give you some ideas for fixing it, but I don't have the phone in my hand, so I can't fix it. And I assume you're talking about from a phone. Could be computer, but usually my experience is that people use Facebook Messenger from their phone. So let's go look at some things here. I'm taking these out of order, aren't I? Yeah, this isn't the order that I was intending to go in, I don't think. Gotta find it here. Yeah. All right. So here's what how Gemini responded. Because I like that as a starting point. It's really working pretty well. And let's move that a little bit. It sounds like your friend has experienced a common, I just did a copy and paste of what he said. Frustrating issue with Facebook Messenger on their iPhone. Oh yeah, it did. He did say it was his phone. Let's go back and point that out. Yeah, some of you may have already noticed this. It says right here, sent from my iPhone. Does that necessarily mean that's where he's having the Facebook Messenger? I think it's a pretty strong indication, but maybe not. The app consistently crashing or kicking them out. This can happen for a number of reasons, and thankfully there are several troubleshooting steps they can try. So here's the first thing. I don't know what you've already tried, so I've got to start from what you gave me to work with. Restart the iPhone, simplest and easiest. Update the Messenger app. Have you covered that? Update the iOS operating system. I was just starting out with very basics. We're going to get a little deeper. Check internet connection. That's probably not going to be although he's had a lot of internet connection issues, but that's probably not it. It's possible that you might not be getting a message indicating your internet is down, but maybe a brief glitch, and then it was enough to cause a problem for Messenger. I doubt that that's what it is. And then, like when you're away from your Wi-Fi, do you have the same symptom when you're working solely from cellular signals? Clear the Messenger cache and reinstall on an iPhone. You can't directly clear cache for a single app like Android. The best way to achieve this is to offload the app, yada, yada, yada. I'll let you read through this. I'm not going to read it all out loud because you're capable of reading. And it's just too much to read. Then turn off low data mode if you've got that happening. Disable VPN if you're using that, and it's possible for him. Check Facebook server status. Unlikely, but try that. And then I think here, let's see, let's go back to, look at that. Kicks me out every 5 to 10 minutes. Doesn't say whether he's on Wi-Fi or cellular or whether it's only one of those. And I think down here, could a jailbroken iPhone cause this? Because I'm suspecting he might have done something like that. Have you jailbroken that iPhone? That could be the cause of Facebook Messenger. Here's why: jailbreak detection. Major apps like Facebook often incorporate jailbreak detection mechanisms because they don't like that. There's a comment here about security and data integrity and feature control, system instability. Now, he may just give a quick yes or no to that, so I'm not going to read through all this, but it's on the screen long enough that he can read through it if he so chooses. What to advise your friend: remove the jailbreak, ensure iOS and app are updated. I think one of those probably said completely uninstall the app and reinstall it. While other troubleshooting steps like reinstallation, speak of the devil, clearing cache, checking network are good general practices. If the device is jailbroken, those might only offer temporary relief or no relief at all. Here's a video. Oh, that's interesting. This video provides information on how to troubleshoot app crashes, specifically on jailbroken iOS devices, which is relevant to your friend's situation. Video unavailable. Playback on other websites has been disabled by the video owner. Oh, that might be, there's a setting in YouTube where you can prevent playback from other websites. So this watch on YouTube, I haven't even looked at this yet. I'll right click and open in new tab. See if, yeah, that does get us somewhere. So I'm not going to watch through that, but I'll grab a link for that and put that link into chat. And let's see, I should get also the title of that. I already copied the link. How to fix crashing apps in a jailbreak situation. Regarding Facebook kickout. So I'll put the title of that. And then is there enough room to get the link? Yes. There that is. And then I'll grab all of that, Control C, and put that into the description of this video. And then we'll move on to the next one. I'm not certain that gave the whole link. Let's try that again. Yeah, see with those 3 dots right there, I don't think that one's going to work. And save that. Then I'm going to move on to the next one. I'll go take a look at chat towards the end of today's show, which might not be a full half hour. I'm just going to deal with these subjects. And if there's any other questions in chat. Okay, that last one was from Bobby Warren. His friend, partner in crime, is Tim Cruz. And on the same day, within like, I don't know, half an hour, they sent me emails. Yeah, it just seems like a collaboration to me. No, that wasn't that close. They were actually sent yesterday. Okay, I hadn't looked at the date and time. I noticed them this morning in close proximity. This does not reveal his email address. I'm going to scroll down and make sure of that. Yes, here he says, I'm going to go back and check about where's the subject? Why do I not see a subject line on this? Is that all? Oh, that is all subject line up there, isn't it? Checking. Yes, it is. That's all subject. That's different. That's unusual. Kind of a long subject line. How can I fix this issue, Doug? I'm trying to get verified check mark on Facebook. But again, we're looking at Facebook here. Encountering this problem with Facebook app, please help me fix this issue. I'll be at work on Monday, but I might be able to come in or watch the replay after work. So he's given us a screenshot here. A verified badge, your audience can trust that you're a real person sharing your real stories. And it says switch to production build. Okay, so that's the first thing, switch to production build. He's being told you are not on a production version of the app. He might not have realized that. To get a real experience of the feature, switch to production app. Okay, so uninstall this app and go reinstall the correct app. However, you might still have a problem with doing that. Let's see nothing else in here. So let me take you to my conversation with Gemini about that. It's just so helpful to have this. It just organizes things so well. And it's so often wrong. Usually when it's wrong, I can recognize it pretty quickly. So here, I gave this screenshot to Gemini, and I said, I have a client reporting this problem with Facebook on his cell phone. What do you make of it? Then scroll down. Based on the image provided, your client is encountering pop-up message on their Facebook app that says switch to production build. You're not on production build. I'm going to skip over some of the text. Message indicates your client likely using a non-production. What it means, you might be using non-production or beta version. So if that's the case, of course, uninstall it and reinstall properly. Production build refers to stable, publicly released version. To get a real experience of the feature, the app is telling your client that the specific feature they're trying to access related to meta verified benefits given the background screen might not function correctly or fully in the non-production build. What to make of it and how to advise your client. They're likely on a beta program. Specific feature requires a stable app. Recommendation. Option 1, switch to the production app. Leave the beta program. For Android, which this phone is Android, going to the Google Play Store, searching for Facebook, looking for option leave beta program or uninstall beta version. After leaving, they should uninstall the app and reinstall the standard version from the Play Store. Don't need to deal with iOS because it's an Android. Option 2, if they want to stay on beta, but be aware of limitations. If your client insists on staying on the beta for other reasons, they need to understand some features may not work as expected. In summary, the message is clear that the Facebook app is a test version. Now, I ask, could this be by a jailbroken? Is that the right terminology? It's actually not for an Android. The correct term is for jailbroken is for iOS. And for Android, the equivalent is rooted. I've never done that on either phone, so I don't know the term. Get over it. A computer troubleshooter. They got me work with phones. Facebook. While switch to production build message doesn't directly state the device is jailbroken, strong possibility it's jailbroken or rooted. If the phone was rooted, it's quite possible that the normal stable version of Messenger won't install on it. Beta programs and unofficial installs. Now I'm saying this for both Bobby Warren and Tim Cruz because I don't know this about them, but I just have the impression it's something that they might be amiable to doing, meaning jailbreak for the iPhone and rooted for the Android. Beta programs with unofficial installs, users with jailbroken or rooted phones often have more control over the system, might use unofficial app stores or methods to install apps. App compatibility issues. Design their apps to run on standard, unmodified operating systems. So if you've got other stuff on your phone that makes it non-standard or do special stuff, then consider those things. Security concerns, Facebook, yeah, there's just more reasons why they don't like dealing with rooted or jailbait. I'm not going to read through it all, but it's all paused on the screen long enough that you can read it. In summary, while the message points to being beta or non-production, a jailbroken rooted phone could very well be the reason why they are on such a version, or why the app is behaving in a way that triggers this message for features like Meta Verified. And keep in mind, anything else that you've done with your phone, any other apps on your phone that kind of makes it weird and unusual, out of the box, not ordinary. Yeah, look at there. Ken Stout still running. How to fix Facebook. Keeps crashing on low iOS devices. Okay, so let's go do the same thing with this one. Copy video URL, and I'll copy the title. Will it let me copy the title? No, it won't let me do that. And it's not, there's a new tab. Pause it. How to fix. Facebook keeps crashing. Is that what we're dealing with now? No, we're dealing with this production build thing. That's a different question. That's not what we're dealing with. Did I scroll into the next one? No. Why is it giving me that video? Oh, well, I'll go ahead and put it. I'm just going to go straight to the description of the video and put it there. Try that again. Put that there. New line and there. Okay. Now I've got one more. That this one has been waiting around for a while because he told me to. He told me to wait. This doesn't show. Does it show? Yeah, there are points where it shows his email address. I think I can arrange this. Okay. Craig Wilson had addressed another issue in the prior emails that are scrolled down below that I'm not going to scroll to, because that will show his email address. And he says, just wanted to update you concerning the annoying noise issue. He was having a noise issue related to USB devices. You're right to be skeptical about the fix that I mentioned with scan now repair option. Because he said he did that and the problem went away. And I don't think that's what it was. I said, that's when I was being skeptical about it. He says, I was right. It helped for a while, but then went back to annoying me. But I did get it fixed. I reinstalled Windows, and that seems to have solved the issue. Now, because reinstalling the Windows solved the issue, that makes me think there's something else going on with his USB devices that in the history of that computer had gotten to a state that was causing that problem. And I think the annoying issue, the noise, was the disconnect and reconnect that a USB device will make. I think that was the noise issue that he was having. So he reinstalled Windows, which removed all of the old USB devices that are no longer in use, but the device drivers are still present. That could be what was going on. It may be that the reinstall, he got the correct chipset drivers maybe, or some form of different drivers that stopped that problem from happening. so far. Stopped it. He says, I do have another problem that just started yesterday. Now, this came in at June 25th, so started June 24th. I know you're super busy right now. You got that right. But I thought you might want to file this away for a future show, and I want to go ahead and knock it out now. Here's the problem. I use an external drive for my backups, but if I unplug the drive, I have limited ports since it's a mini PC, and then plug it back in again, it fails to show in Windows Explorer. Now let me point out right here, this kind of implies that he's not using a USB hub, but it doesn't directly say that. I'd be a little more comfortable if he actually directly tells us that. Plug it back into Windows, fails to show in Windows Explorer. I can see it in disk management utility, but it does not show a drive letter, just a disk number. So what I have to do is assign a drive letter, then it will show up in Windows Explorer. This problem is not limited to just external drives for backups. I have the same problem using a USB stick. Now, I wonder is this the same computer that he just did a Windows install, and has he put all the proper drivers from the manufacturer for it? I have made sure that the system is updated. Yeah, really? Are you sure? No bangs are showing in the device manager. That's not enough. No bangs in device manager is not enough to say that the drivers are all updated properly. That just means none of the drivers are reporting an error. My concern is this: will this affect my backups if I ever need to access them? Absolutely not. Will not affect them at all. If you don't mind dealing with this issue, then you could just leave it as is, and I'd have no concern about that whatsoever. For your information, I use a Cronus True image. Yeah, that doesn't make any difference as to whether your backups are safe with respect to the drive letter issue. I'm beginning to wonder if there's a USB problem with the mini PC. Possible, but I'm not nearly convinced of that yet. Highly unlikely, I'd say. First, the noise issue, now not recognized in drives. The noise issue did not persist through reinstalling the operating system. So no, I think that was something that was wrong with your operating system. Maybe some residual drivers or some lack of the right drivers, something else going on. And now let's not just call it a noise issue. It's a disconnect, reconnect noise issue. Pretty sure I'm remembering that right. I hope I've given you enough to adequately describe the problem. Yeah, I think so. Thanks for your help. No rush on my part, as I know you have business to run. Have a great summer. So I did hit Gemini with this also, again, because it just organizes things in such a nice way. Here's how that came out. And I asked Gemini, what do you think of this? And also it's a demonstration for how to use Gemini or any AI. I don't care which one. What do you think of this question from a client? Here's the problem using external drives. So this is what the whole, just copy and paste. Updated, I'm beginning to wonder. Okay, that's all his question. He says, this is an excellent, how about that? How about that? Do you like that? This is an excellent, well-articulated problem description from your client. Gemini is really just syrupy, buttery, sometimes sickeningly so with the compliments. Always starts out with a compliment. It demonstrates they've done some troubleshooting already and have a good grasp of the symptoms. Here's a breakdown of my thoughts on their question, addressing each point, understanding the core problem, central issues, external USB drive devices, not automatically assigned a drive letter, potential problem with how Windows handles device enumeration, addressing their concerns directly. Will it affect backups? Now they say direct answer potentially yes, but not necessarily catastrophic. Will it affect your backups? Well, yes, because you're going to have to map a drive letter. You're going to have to select a drive letter. That's an effect. You're not going to be able to restore until a drive letter has been assigned to that storage media. So this Gemini said, yes, it will affect your backups. Just that you need to do a drive letter, workaround, manually assign a drive letter in disk management. No biggie. Strong agreement, Gemini, regarding thinking there's a USB problem. And I said, no, I don't think so. The noise issue. Now, Gemini wasn't told what the noise issue was. or that reinstalling Windows fixed it. So I'm very much discounting Gemini's response here. Possible causes and troubleshooting beyond what the client has done. USB drivers. While they mention no bangs in Device Manager, that only means the current drivers are installed and not reporting immediate errors. It does not mean they are the correct or most up-to-date drivers, specifically for the mini PC's USB chipset. Advise them to go to Mini PC's manufacturer website, download the latest USB chipset drivers, all of the drivers that computer needs. You should get from the Mini PC's manufacturer's website since you are having a problem. Selective suspend. The power saving feature can sometimes cause issues. Go to Control Panel, Hardware and Sound. Now, sometimes these specific instructions don't turn out quite right. Change plan settings, change advanced power settings, USB selective suspend setting. Set it to disabled. Fast startup. Given the steps here to turn on fast startup, but uncheck it. So if you read this too quickly, you might say that's telling me to turn on fast startup, really? No, uncheck that one. And that's going to cause Windows to go through more full startup when you restart the computer. And that might include enumerating devices. Now, he was referring to when he disconnects a USB drive and reconnects it, not restarting. So that's another point. If you put the USB device in, it does not get a drive letter. How about if you restart it with that device in place? Does it assign a drive letter then? That may or may not be a useful piece of information. Try different USB ports, definitely. Try different USB cables, although he was saying flash drive also has the same problem. So it's not just a cable problem, but definitely different ports. And you have other devices, you have limited ports. If you have something in another USB port that's sharing the same root hub, that means there's the amount of power that those two USB ports is shared from one header. So that could be causing an issue. Disconnect all the other USB devices and then see if you can disconnect and reconnect a USB drive and get it to recognize, assign a drive letter. Your mouse and keyboard, that's probably not, they generally don't take much power. So I doubt that's causing a problem, but you have anything else on another USB port that is taking power, it might be sharing the same root hub, therefore the same power supply. So remove that. John Daniel, I'll get to that question. That's a good question. USB port, let's see, have them test the problematic devices on all USB ports. External hub, if they're using an unpowered USB hub or powered, it could contribute to power delivery issues. If you're using a powered hub, yeah, you have several devices connected to it, still could be an issue. If you're using a powered USB hub and you're not using the original cable that came with that hub, maybe the cable you're using isn't delivering all of the power that hub is capable of providing. If they're using a hub, have them try connecting devices directly to the mini PC. If they need a hub, recommend a powered one. Disk management consistency. Observe, this is interesting. Have disk management open and then plug in the drive. Does it momentarily show a drive letter and then disappear, or does it never appear? This could provide subtle clues. I'm not sure what we would do with that information either way, but interesting piece of information. May or may not prove to be useful. I got ideas floating around how that might be useful, but not elaborate on that now. Event viewer might log errors related to USB device enumeration to drive assignment. Check event viewer. How about actually have event viewer open when you connect that? Now you might have to hit the refresh button. Let's see, event viewer. I don't think it live refreshes when you do something. So if you go, I did Windows key R, and no, I did Windows key, then event viewer, and then expand Windows logs, go to system. And it may take a while for this to populate if you have a lot of history in Event Viewer. If it does take a long time and you want to fix that, then clear your history. There's some option somewhere. Clear log. Yeah, clear the entire log. I like to keep my history. But anyway, plug in your device, see if something pops up here. I think you actually have to hit refresh to see that happen. And I think there's actually also a place, maybe it's in options, where you can tell it to refresh more often. No, not there. Is there? Do I remember that right? Event properties. No, not there. Seems like there's a place to get it to refresh more frequently. Nah, but just go ahead and hit refresh. Is there a shortcut for that? No. And see if anything pops up when you're connecting it. That might be a clue. Errors around the time, mini PC BIOS settings. There might be some BIOS settings affecting how your USB operates. So you might, Tony Wallow, $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Tony. You might have a lost me track, but oh yeah, in BIOS settings, if you have a load default settings, try that, because maybe some change you've made along the way has altered it. There might be a default settings or load optimized settings. I don't know if that's around anymore with modern computers. As a last resort, and only if comfortable, check the mini PC's BIOS UEFI settings for any USB related options might be misconfigured. So you can go poking around in probably in the advanced section for USB to see if they give you the ability to do any specific configurations. Overall impression and recommendation: this is a legitimate concerning issue for the client. While they have a workaround, it's not a proper solution, could lead to problems during a critical backup restore. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not going to give you any except could it? Let's suppose a backup is running and the computer loses that drive letter and the backup is still running. Could that cause a problem to the backup? Yeah, but then the backup would fail and you would get a fail report. So maybe. But once you assign, once he assigns a drive letter, it never drops unless he hasn't told us that. It's only when he connects it, it doesn't assign a drive letter. He can go assign a drive letter, and as far as we know, it stays assigned. So in that case, it would be okay. Proper solution could lead problems during a critical backup restore. I don't think it would be a critical problem. You just fix it and redo it. My primary suspicion, so says Gemini, leans towards a driver issue or hardware fault with a mini PC's USB controller itself. A noise issue reinforces the idea of hardware problem or instability. I completely disagree with that. The noise issue was fixed by reinstalling Windows. Gemini doesn't know that because we haven't told her, him, it. I would recommend guiding them through the troubleshooting steps above, starting with the easiest, least intrusive. USB selected, suspend, fast startup, manufacturer's drivers. All of those are good. I'm on board with all of those. If these don't resolve the issue, and especially if the noise issue is also persistent, it is not. It might be time to consider the mini PC as faulty. No, I don't think so. Suggest contact the manufacturer for support. Now, this problem, I'm deducing only came up after reinstalling Windows. Yeah, Scott, you're right. Overtime already. I thought I was going to knock these out. Jeez. Okay, so that's the end of that. I think I've covered everything there. That gets this off of my plate, so I don't have to sweat over it, worry about it anymore. What, Doug? You sweat? You worry? Over YouTube? Say it isn't so. Tony Wallow, let's start with getting that. So I'm going to, let's see. How do I do? Oh, 199. Yeah, that's the way. Add 2 zeros to 1.99. Add 2 zeros on that. you get 199.00. So that's the way to do that. And then at Tony. Thank you, Tony. And he gets points off of that. Let's go look for oranges. I don't see oranges. Now, for those of you who had a question, I'm not going to read through all of these to find your question. So give me an exclamation mark C and then give me a timestamp. Or better yet, triple click on your question, Control C, and then come down here, do a exclamation mark C, space, and then paste it. That's the best way to do it. Absolute best way to do it. That's Ken Stout's favorite way of doing it. So I know there was a question in there about liking kind of a Copilot, how to do with Copilot. So I'm going to go search for that one because I saw that one. P-I-L-O-T. What? Pilot. Why is it not showing up? Gemini. Scott, I like Gemini. Never used AI before. Doug showing it. Ah, score, Scott. That gets you points. Telling me that something I did helped you, improved your knowledge base. That is some big points. So there's 1,000 points for you. Then John Downey, Copilot versus Gemini. I have spent significant amount of time with both. Now, Copilot might have fixed some of my complaints about it, but in the beginning, when I was using it, Copilot, I couldn't search, I couldn't rename a chat. I couldn't upload files, I couldn't upload pictures to it. I can do all of that with Gemini. And the Gemini, the other part of Gemini called the Studio, that's a companion product. Yeah, Gemini AI Studio just takes that and puts it on steroids. Copilot has close integrations with the Microsoft Office programs. So in Microsoft Word, for instance, I'm bringing this up. And here, I'll get to that read chat in just a moment. Copilot is actually integrated in Microsoft Word and Excel and so on. I actually paid an extra subscription amount to add that Copilot functionality, and then Microsoft just made Microsoft 365. It renamed it to Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'm still paying a monthly subscription for Copilot. I don't know if I need to. I have been very disappointed with it as I try to get it to help me with things in OneNote and in Microsoft Word, and I think even in Excel. I have not been happy with its performance. So I'm liking Gemini better. Parker Morse here, that was the last read chat, says, I like Gemini because I'm watching Doug use it. Greg says, I don't use Microsoft Copilot. Now, Microsoft does have a close integration with OneNote, and I have found it useful. So I have my OneNote of my clients that is often kind of gibberish because I type things as I come across them. And then I'll ask Copilot to summarize this page for me, and it gives me a really good summary of that page. So I'll use that and I'll read it and then I'll delete it because I don't want to work off of that because it's not perfect. And my gibberish up there that it summarized, some of the stuff in that gibberish, I recognize, I know what it means, but Copilot doesn't. So I don't trust Copilot's summarization of my gibberish, but I have found that useful. So there are some places, and Copilot has various different levels. The thing I'd really like to have is the Copilot agents. That's only available in the enterprise version and I think education, and I can't get those. So I can't use the agents. I'm not going to try to explain what that is now. I don't think there's any oranges. I'll just call out some names to say hello to people and then get out of here. And Greg, I'm wondering what authority do you have to say this? people rarely jailbreak iPhones these days. Is that just because you haven't come across it? Have you actually done a worldwide survey to see? Yeah, I'm uncomfortable with people making claims like this. Is that just your personal impression? Where does that come from? I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. Hello, Jason Mirabili. Hello, Greg M. I was watching a computer upgrade live stream. Hello, Scott. Rick Lakes. Lundog. Dougbot. Charlie Purdy. I'm not actually looking at the chat messages because I need to get out of here. Rick Lakes. Jim. Looking for other names that I haven't seen show up yet. Parker Morris, hello. Not reading the chat messages. I'm not even speed or glancing at them. Just trying to say hello to people. Jinxter, Z Jinxter, Darren Gilholm. Who else? I think I covered everybody. Back in iPhone 3 days, it was a lot easier to jailbreak phones. That doesn't really answer who are you to say that people don't do that anymore? I think you probably, if you go look around Reddit and what's the one that starts, I think, with a D? The other one that I don't like, where people that do that kind of stuff hang out. I'll bet you find lots of people there that are still doing it. Ken was doing his own live stream. I don't think he even knows that I did this. Discord. Yep, that's the other one with the D. I was right that it's a D. Destroys all the wonderful security. Yeah, that's right. Yep, it was Discord that I was talking about. And I think John Downey was the first to say that there, so I'll give you some love for that. 200 points. It wasn't actually solving an issue. Answered something. I couldn't come up with a name. Let's get out of here. My intention during this summer schedule, I don't know if it'll be all summer. I think I'm comfortable calling it summer schedule, where I'm not live streaming 6 days a week. But when questions come in and I'm at a point where I can do it, I'm just going to jump in with a live stream. It may not always be at this time. Yes, the Jinxter, there's a lot of people, good people on Discord, but there's a lot of rude people too. So yeah, I've been treated rudely multiple times. So yeah. There's the email address if you'd like to send a question. And have a great day, everybody. I will catch you later. This is going to be a short outro.